Hello everyone, this is the HGLRC Petrel 132. This is the 6S edition. It comes with an F411 flight controller, 13 amp 4-in-1 ESC, and the VTX is power switchable up to 400 milliwatts. Caddx EOS 2 for your FPV camera, and 1106 2400 kV motors on these Gemfan bi-blade props. Comes with a 35 volt 220 microfarad capacitor, which I secured to the rear standoff with a little zip tie. My favorite tape to secure your motor wires down to the carbon fiber bottom plate. I added the strain relief to the battery lead. TPU canopy secures not only your camera but your VTX as well as your receiver antennas. It does come with this rubber battery mat as well. Also in the box you get an extra set of props, baggie of assorted screws, an extra battery strap, a wiring harness to run two 3S batteries, receiver manual, manual on the quad, a little QC tag, and a sheet of stickers. Bottom plate looks to be 3mm thick, and motor post to motor post it does look like 132mm. It weighs almost 80¼ grams. The recommended batteries are the 6S 300mAh or the 450mAh. With the 300mAh battery, it weighs just about 136 grams. With the 450mAh battery, it weighs just about 162 grams. We've got a fair bit of wind. You can see the trees moving around. You could probably also hear it on my audio recording that is sitting on the table. This is the shortest flight of all my flights with this little guy. We're going to get about 3 minutes and 15 seconds. I think it's actually 3:13, but we'll check that at the end. Like I said, this is the shortest of all my flights. I do find that you get about 45 to 50 seconds more with the 450mAh. I don't have a good sample of, for me, what that exact flight time gain would be by the 450mAh battery because I only have one of them. So each time I go out and fly, I'd have that one charged. So I've had a lot more packs on the 300. I did find that I think the 450 throws the tune off just a touch. There's some simple minor oscillations, control issues that I found with the bigger battery that I didn't care for, but of course, you tweak out the PIDs a little bit and it'd do just fine. This thing is going to be one you won't fly in areas where you need to be quiet. Those bi-blades, speaking of the bi-blades, that do make quite a bit of noise. I'm a little bit surprised they went with these particular Gemfan props. I'm not certain why, I have no idea. It flies well still, but these props are, geez, they've got to be a couple years old. I know some of you out there could tell me exactly how old they are, and there have been a lot of bi-blade development in the 3-inch arena. So you could try out some of those props, especially the lower pitch props, if you wanted to extend your flight time by quite a bit, I suspect. The noise will also change. It kind of depends on which props you do decide to use, but these will probably be some of the noisier props. And it flies, the best way I can kind of describe how it flies is it flies kind of angry. It's got lots of grunt, it's got lots of power, and it's running on those noisy bi-blades that you can just hear screaming all over the place. I didn't have any complaints with my neighbors. I recently had one comment where someone, I think there was a translation issue, they said something about cutting my neck for flying in my neighbor's backyard, and I tried to explain to them that my neighbors and I are all on very good terms, and we've lived here for many years, so I have yet to hear anyone that didn't even like it. And I'm also respectful in the fact that if they're outside, it's really rare that I fly when they're outside. Now, if my neighbors with the pool are outside, I generally will still fly. I won't fly a lot of packs, maybe 3 to 5 packs. But of course, I'm pretty careful to stay away from that area. I stay low around that fence side just because I don't want any opportunities to get over the fence and into the pool and kill a quad. The run time down there, that's the on time. If you're used to my channel, you know that I usually put the fly time down there, and we'll see the fly time here at the end. And that punch right before that bush, I was really surprised because I was pretty certain that I was a little bit late hitting the throttle as I got up to that bush, but I cleared it just fine, and that was pretty exciting and fun. The one thing that this flight doesn't have that some of my other flights do have is a power loop from the shed side to the chimney side. For whatever reason in this particular flight I just forgot to do that. But you can see we were getting a little bit of the low battery warning as we zoom around the backyard, and we're going to wrap up the flight here, and I'll pause it as we get to the end screen because that shows us the precise amount of time that we flew the quad. And here we go, 3 minutes and 12 seconds, so I was pretty close. And then we go back to the stock screen and we see that our battery's in good shape at 3.62 volts per cell. So you could have flown a little bit longer. If you like to come in at 3.5 volts, you'll have to gauge that on your batteries and your battery maintenance. I really don't have a lot to complain about with this. One of the things that they did to secure down the canopy, which I approve of, is they used the nylock nuts on here, so those should not work loose. You want to be certain, but if you're tightening these down, you don't tighten them so hard that you pinch these little tabs off the canopy, so that's something to note. I guess if you're looking for things to complain, maybe the fact that they've zip tied the receiver down, maybe you don't like that. I don't have a problem with it. I've never had a problem with it on these, but maybe long term that shifts around, maybe. I don't know. I'm really kind of grasping for straws. The soldering all looks clean and nice. The wire management looks pretty good. Of course, I mentioned the tape that they use. I approve of that tape. It's some of the best tape in the industry for keeping things down and being easy to work with, yet still. I should mention that, yes, I did secure this down. These wires that they use down in here are very stiff. Hopefully you can see that with the prop out of the way. These are stiff wires. I don't think this would waggle around much, but of course, you know, we don't want anything moving around on our quad outside of the props and motors. So I went ahead and just lightly put this zip tie on there, and I put it on light enough to where I could actually remove it and put it back on just by sliding it up and down. I just want to keep it from moving around too much. And if I were to get tangled up into a tree, I don't want that getting ripped off, because that could cause a fair bit of damage. Also note, I've got a little bit of a wrinkle down here in my battery leads before I secured it down. That's something I always do, because if it does tug on this, the zip tie isn't foolproof. It will give us some resistance and possibly save us if we have a battery ejection to keep the battery lead connected to the ESC down there. But I put the zip tie on there just for that, and then I add a little wrinkle, so if it slides through the zip tie a little bit, we still have a fighting chance that we won't tear it plumb off the ESC. Pretty surprising to see something running 6S on 1106 motors, but I thought it performed pretty well. I liked the low-end grunt of this when you hit the throttle, especially there was a few times during that flight, and you may have noticed it, that I would kind of slow down before I hit the throttle. When I go around the two trees and then I come up the chimney side, that's really hard on the battery, because you're really getting on the battery to do that at speed 360-degree turn, and then you jam the battery to get up over the chimney. So that one is pretty hard. But when I would come up to the shed side and I would kind of slow down at an angle, actually pitch up just a touch, and then I would hit the throttle, that was something that I liked when I flew this quad quite a bit, was doing quite a bit of punch outs. And I think I did a few more punch outs than I normally do, just because we are running a 6S battery and we had good long flight time. Like I said, that was my shortest flight of all the flights I took, but I thought it was one of the more fun flights of all the flights that I took as well. It is worth noting that these batteries, if you want these precise batteries, I'm unaware of any other vendor that sells the 6S variety in these sizes, so you'll probably want to pick these up unless you plan on flying some of your own batteries. You know, you can take, if you've got a couple of 3S batteries and you've got the, like for our whoops and stuff like that, we would run 3S on them. You could put those together with a little wiring harness in order to get the 6S, but otherwise you probably want to look, if you're getting this, at also picking up a few batteries as well. The price point for the 6S edition, depending upon if you're buying the one just like I've got with the XM Plus in it, if you get the one where it's shipped from abroad, it comes in at $131. If you get the one that's shipped from the US, that's $148, so you paid quite a bit more, and the one in the US is currently out of stock. It also comes with FlySky and the Crossfire Nano, or you can add your own receiver. The 4S edition comes in just slightly less expensive if you get it from the abroad warehouse, meaning outside of the US, it's $129.99. If you get it from the US stock, which they do have the 4S edition currently in stock, but of course, by the time this video gets produced and you see it, things could change. It's $142.99. I'll have links down in the video description to the HGLRC and other vendors where you might be able to purchase one. And if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know in the section down below. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.